What's going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast. It's going to be episode 41. I know the graphics of the last couple of weeks have been messed up. They're off by one number. You guys can figure out why. No, I'll tell you exactly why. I have a notebook where I write everything down, and I wrote someone's name in the wrong column and then messed all the numbers up by one. So that's what happened, and they were already done, so they stayed that way. But listen, we have a lot of great interview coming up here today with Nathaniel Cunningham. We'll talk to him in a moment. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. But before we do, I just want to let you guys know, Mary Elizabeth's interview was going to be Thursday. She had some engagements coming. I actually thought I was losing the interview. I was bummed because that's, I have to talk to the queen. But we moved that to Wednesday. So we're going to have another episode for you guys tomorrow. And then when everything was going crazy and I was trying to scramble to find a fill-in for Thursday, I came across a very, very, very cool, talented person at High Tension Wrestling the weekend of that show. And met Harleen Lopez. So she will be on the show Thursday. So we have 3 episodes in 1 week for you guys. Really, really excited to talk to everybody and get these stories out. We just hit 700 plays on the audio side of things, which is absolutely insane to me. You guys have been so supportive and doing cool things. The numbers have been doing great over there. So if you are listening to the video of this and you want something to listen to in your car, you can check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, everywhere for those podcasts. Also, there is an ad read in the very beginning. Now we're getting paid. I get a couple cents per podcast. If you guys listen to the audio side things, please leave reviews. I can see the reviews, and I'd love to read those reviews off and give you guys that little engagement, especially on Spotify. It has a little what did you think of this episode deal? Links are below for merchandise. There is a new shirt out, the ABJ duct tape shirts out, and also the brand new iced tea and chocolate milk ones. You can tell clearly where they spoofed of, but if you're from the 570, you know. But I'm very, very proud of those. There's more Skook 570 inspired logos coming very soon. But speaking of Skook and 570, our sponsor, Elevation 1470. Elevate your style with Fractal's brand Elevation 1470. Elevation 1470 is reinventing the style by bringing traditional and nostalgic apparel to Fractal and the surrounding areas of School County, Pennsylvania. They pride themselves on hometown heritage and community. Elevation 1470 is where the trail begins. You can find them at www.elevation1470.com to find the latest traditional nostalgic styles in School County, Pennsylvania. And I believe you have a couple days left if you want to use discount code I love ABJ for 15% off your order for the month of March. So yeah, go show those guys some support. Also, huge thank you to High Tension Wrestling. There's another place you can find the ABJ podcast. They made a playlist for me on their page. So YouTube has this new feature now where you can share other people's content on your page to give them exposure, and they did that for me. So some of the High Tension talent or people have worked High Tension. Their interviews are now featured on that YouTube page, which is really, really cool and helping get some new eyes on the product. So huge thank you to those guys as well. And every time that we feature a High Tension wrestler, we are going to put the High Tension watermark below. And if you're a promotion and you want your talent to be featured the same way, we do the same thing. If let me know, send me a JPEG of your thing, and we can pop it up on the screen and make it look nice and pretty and fancy. Links for myself for merch and support are all below if you want to join Patreon or all that fun things. Also, check out the links for Adena and Philly Mike. Still, covering through the recovery. Philly Mike's completely off a brace, has full range of motion. His physical therapist said he's killing it. Adena, I believe, is doing the same route. So that recovery for both of them is doing really well, which is exciting. So that's pretty much it for the housekeeping. But let's get this podcast started. Without further ado, let me bring in my guest. I love this kid to death. He's part of that. He's part of that this new group coming up. I just watched the new what the hell movie was it? Scream, where they had a crew name. I don't know what their crew name is. Maybe we'll find one out in this podcast. But let's bring him in, Nathaniel Cunningham.
What's up, bud? What's up? Thanks for having me.
No problem. Let's name your crew here. What is your crew's name? Like your little the high ground crew. That's what I've been calling you guys. But I love how you guys stick together and you guys are this little family and you're such a good support system for one another. But yeah, super excited for you guys and what you guys are bringing to the table.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Our group is awesome, and we are essentially looked as the high ground kids now. But I mean, that the company doesn't solidify us. So we're our own person. And
yeah, because
whether
you guys have been carrying over since you guys got in the broke in from backbreakers on. You know what I mean? That's why I said I don't want to lump you into it like a promotion name. Like I feel like that's, you know, like the Four Horsemen, but there's like what five or six years. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no, there's a ton. Like and we travel everywhere together. Triple WA, PCWA, wherever one is booked, we all go, whether we have spots or not, because we just have to enjoy the time on the road. That's it. Like,
yeah, driving with people is really cool. Me and Pete, me and him have had amazing bonding experiences. Me and Mike and Riley have had the same thing. This is why I don't like learning real names. But have had amazing experiences as well. Those moments behind the wheel and driving to shows is irreplaceable, and that's where you're gonna build those bonds and friendships. But well, let's dive into it, man. Speaking of your crew and your training, how did you get involved in professional wrestling, and how did you land your first school?
So I got involved young, like most people did. I used to go watch my godfather wrestle, and he wrestled at places like Triple WA. He wrestled in McAdoo. I'm not sure what promotion was out there. He went under the Night Prowler. So going to see him as a kid really kind of inspired me, and like I wanted to do it. And then I got into WWE, and that really broadened my horizons. And I always wanted to do it since I was a kid. And once I turned 19, I was like, I'm going to do it. So my godfather actually set me up with Justin Glory, and he told me where the school was, and I came down and talked to him. And next thing I knew, I was signed up.
Yeah. And remember how I said earlier, how your group of kids is like, I love every single one of them, and they're all dope and they're all amazing. All except this piece of garbage. Ricky Price says, oh God, not these two. What? An absolute dirtball that guy is.
He really is. He is. I agree.
I know for a fact he's a giant ABJ fan because he's in every stream. He wants to hear his voice. He wants me to say his name. Unfortunately, he's going to be on the podcast in a few weeks. I can't. The things I do for businesses and for promotions and for my friends, you know, I had to book this trash human being. But anyway, let's get back to your interview. I don't want to get too much time.
He even told me he collects your stickers. So.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
He puts them on his back at shows. I don't know why he does that. But yeah. So now, how long did he wrestle?
My godfather? Oh,
yeah.
I think it was 10 to 12 years. I want to say it was a lengthy time. I know he got injured, and that kind of like solidified that he was done for him. I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the shoulder. I think it separated, and he was just done ever since. And then he got into some really bad car accidents, and ever since then, like he still comes to my shows, watches me as much as he can. But as far as the wrestling side, it just ended kind of sad for him, which is unfortunate.
What age did you jump right into training? Like as soon as you were able to?
Well, my plan was once I turned 18, come down to school, sign up. But then no one in my family thought it was a good idea, because I was the kid that didn't like pain. I only played baseball, a little football, but like solely baseball. So like they tried to push me against wrestling and say like, you know, it might not be for you. You know, you can get hurt, like really bad stuff and scenarios. So that held me off for a year. But once I turned 19, I was just like, I'm just going to do it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Now, were some of those critiques that were given to you true? Did you struggle with, you know, aches and pains and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in the beginning. I did not think wrestling was going to be as hard as it was. And it really turned my head on like how this business is.
Yeah. What do you think it toughened you up here? Do you like what do you think separated you from changing that demeanor mentally of like, okay, I can take these bumps, I can take these, you know, these situations and move forward?
Oh, I definitely, Justin Glory helped me a lot through talking to me when I was down. Because I did struggle with some things like everyone else. I struggled with rope running, taking beagles, suplexes, because I was just in my head constantly. So after I got over little hurdles with his guidance, it really, truly helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. Vince Torres in the chat says those first few months are tough. I listen, I can't really compare it because I never really have done wrestling. But it's just like when you sign up for football, and you're doing those 3-a-days, and essentially those 3-a-days, sometimes 4 days, it's like 2-3 weeks long, and they're just there to kill you, and they're there to see what you can do, and they're there to mentally see if you want this or you don't want this, and then that's essentially what they do to you in professional wrestling. But it's awesome that, once again, just kind of singing this praises of glory of saying, like, as someone who could just easily be like, yep, kid didn't make it. He's tiny, he's scrawny, he's little, he's this. He sat with you and helped you through that mental aspect. And I think that's super dope. And that's why I think, like, with your crew and helping each other, and then knowing that how much a support system is important in professional wrestling or anything you do, especially in an industry where the older school generation didn't really have or utilize that support system, and you guys are kind of changing that MO. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And if I didn't have my group of friends and my support system, I don't know how long I would have lasted without them, essentially, because, we pick each other up as much as we can when we're down, and the good times are really good and the bad times really, really suck.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you said growing up you watched your and uncle and WWE and stuff. Who are some people when you watch that you would say now that you go back tape study wise, now that you're in the business, you've learned, behind the curtain a little bit, who are some people you study to better yourself or maybe pick and learn stuff from?
Definitely Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I watched a little bit of Kevin Owens, actually, because I just like it. I just like his style. And Jeff Hardy, 100%.
I just watched on TikTok, someone took like I didn't actually know where I don't know where this full thing is posted. I have to go seek it out. But essentially, people were backstage filming the Kevin Owens Stone Cold Night 1 spot, and essentially just like following Kevin. He's like, they're like, where's Austin? He goes, he's somewhere pacing around like a pit bull. And then Kevin's like, he's in Gorilla, and Triple H is like, this is your moment. Like, go out and have fun. And you can tell Kevin Owens in the zone, and he's like, thank you so much. And I thought he was gonna start crying before he hit the curtain, because Triple H was kind of giving him that talk that he should have gave him before. Like, this is it. You wanted this. This is what you wanted to do. And he's like, this is your childhood dream. This is your childhood hero, and he's coming back for you. Like, and Kevin's like, I know. And then he hits the curtain, goes out, and does what he's supposed to do. And it was cool because I didn't know this was, obviously you don't see this on cameras, but essentially the entire locker rooms cleared out. And if they weren't in Gorilla, because they had people like, they had a camera in Gorilla of like Seth Rollins laughing and like, this is so cool, like, and everyone reacting as Stone Cold taking the bumps and stuff. But the whole locker room was outside on the side stages watching Kevin Owens. It was just a cool moment. I just, with those reasons there, like, I love professional wrestling, those behind the scene things that a lot of people don't experience or know about.
No, absolutely.
I love that so much. It is Mania week too. Are you excited?
I am, actually. I'm gonna miss night 1, but
yeah, I'm going to as well. I have a booking I'm gonna go to. Or no, I won't miss night 1. I'll miss, so night 1 for me is Friday because it's all the GCW stuff, but I won't miss night 1 or night 2. Is there a match or something, anything this weekend that you're really looking forward to?
Roman and Cody.
100%. If Kevin wins the tag team titles, he's held a world title, he has held a world title, a IC, a US, and now a tag. So he will,
wow.
He will complete his, well, he's missing one of the world titles, but I feel like if you had one, it counts as a world title.
No, I agree. 100% agree.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Sorry, sidetrack.
No.
We take a lot of side quests on this podcast, but so when you're doing this, your schooling and stuff, how long did it take you before you went from training to stepping in for your first match?
I know from my training point to the 6-month period, I started reffing. So I want to say a little under a year. I was scheduling my debut against Aaron Roxas, and then COVID happened. So then I ended up waiting 3 months, and Chris Banks, oddly enough, great guy, helped me a lot. He texted me and said, hey, do you want to debut at Eclipse? And I kind of texted Glory, and I asked him for his permission, and he said, you're ready. So yeah, I'll give you the thumbs up. You can go. So I had my official debut at Eclipse against Chris. But then when COVID ended, I came back home to Backbreakers and debuted against Aaron Roxas. Yeah.
Now, when you first debuted, you weren't Nathaniel Cunningham, correct?
Correct. I was Roberto Garcia.
How did this character come about?
So we were getting ready for my debut, and we were talking characters. and Glory kind of just said, "What do you want to do?" And I had no idea at all. And Chris was working out with me a little bit, and he's like, "Well, you're a small guy. You're you can do all this flippy stuff. Why don't you just try to mix a little lucha in? Like, I know how to do lucha. I'll teach you." So I started learning the style, and I actually fell in love with it. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to be a full-on luchador. And it kind of all happened too quick. But then when it happened and it kept happening and I kept running with that character, it came to a point where like I felt so closed off. I really couldn't talk. I really couldn't be me. Or
because you were essentially a Spanish luchador who wasn't Spanish.
Exactly. And I didn't want it to come off bad or anything. So I was like, you know what? We got to change this quick.
I remember it's funny. I wasn't aware of this until later. Because once again, like Backbreakers, I didn't have backstage access. And that's why I kind of really liked Backbreakers for a while there. We would come and film interviews because I wasn't privy to a lot of talent. And it was like a new area of talent of people I didn't really know. And we interviewed you when you won your first title. Yeah. And you were still very new to your career. And I remember interviewing you and talking to you. And then a couple months later, like, oh yeah, he's losing his mask. And I was like, oh, that's him. I didn't know. I had no idea of the transition between you and the mask and stuff. And I just remember I was there for your first title win. And then I was there when you lost your mask.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think when I won the title, I think it was only my second or third match against Travis Dorian.
Oh my God. Donnie was going to be in a mask too.
Yeah. We were actually going to do, he was going to be Tank the Unicorn and I was going to be Scrappy the Mantis. It was going to be a comedy tag team gimmick and we were just going to roll with it. And then we came up with Nathaniel Cunningham and he shot for Donnie Bambino and we just happened to be the bad fellas.
Sorry. Run in here. Heidi run in. Now he's doing this whole new thing where he's not even an Italian mob anymore. He's a really good bowler.
Yeah, and I cut back on the flamboyancy side of things because, after a while it's great, to be that arrogant, cocky, pretty boy, so to say. But like I'm just really honing in to like change my style a little bit to match his, and I think that's what makes us a unique tag team at this point.
I totally agree. This is the one, and I talked to you about this too. The only critique I had of your character was I'm not a bowler. Was you had a character who was very similar to somebody else that kind of came out of your school, and I was like, man, I wish like you would like, and it was eventually going to happen. I'm glad you're kind of coming to and being like, all right, I can find another niche here. Like you're kind of changing it up a little bit. I think it's going to benefit you more. I think you're going to step up and become your own thing now, you know what I mean, and really find yourself. So I think it'd be kind of cool to see you maybe like that, like underling of like the mob boss or whatever it may be. I think you guys as like Italian goons would be really funny, and it's a gimmick that never gets old. I mean, NXT can do it, WWE can do it, but it's just something that stands the test of time. You know what I mean? Like look back at Little Guido and the Full-Blooded Italians, and it's just something that you can keep rewatching because you could just turn it to 11 and be Goodfellas, but not Goodfellas. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something you can have a lot of fun with. And I think I'm really excited to see how you can transition and take this character to another level.
Well, yeah. And essentially with like Donnie, we can cut promos, but we don't even got to discuss them. Like, that's the best part. We just kind of feed off each other and we just say whatever. And the other one follows. So like, we don't have rehearsal time. We don't have none of that. We just go out there and do our thing. And that's the best way to do it for us anyway.
I was having a conversation, and the conversation was, well, how are these kids? And it wasn't coming from a place of disdain or jealousy or wasn't happy for you guys, but the question was like, these guys are very, very young in their career. How are they getting so many bookings outside of their area? And I literally said, because they're characters. Characters are easier to book. If your characters, I'm just a tough guy, but you're not a tough guy yet because you're still new and green. It's hard to get that over in a promotion and sell yourself to a promotion. But when an Italian mobster, a hippie, two college frat boys, and all these vibrant, fun characters that can work but also can play a character, they are going to get more bookings because a promoter can say, okay, I can see where I can use this character. the dude walks in, still very new, working things out, learning himself as a professional wrestler. But you look at the dude and go, well, there's my comedy guy. There's my comedy guy. Bang, there's my matchup. That's how you're going to get more opportunities, because you're becoming a character and you're putting yourself out there and you're turning it to 11. And then once you learn that character, I feel like if you want to be the tough guy later on down the road because you put more muscle on, or you become that vet, then go do that then too. But I think it's going to help you learn the ring. I think it's going to help you get more bookings. And that's why I think you guys are standing out a little more than and getting the respect and maybe the bookings you deserve is because you're willing to step out and do the character work.
I agree. And the only thing I will never come out with again is the mirror, because I was wrestling Ricky at UCW, and we had a spot planned out in the beginning where he's just gonna gut chop me in the corner, and the mirror ended up smashing over my head, unfortunately, and all on Ricky's back. I was like, oh Jesus, here we go. Opening of the match. I think we were the first match too on the main card.
And there's glass in the ring now.
Yeah. And MJ is just on the side. He said, oh shit, and just started cleaning it up. I was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
That just happened.
So what exactly are you gonna do for this new character? What are some ideas you have? Are you still saying Nathaniel Cunningham, or how is it working?
Yeah, I'm still saying solely Nathaniel Cunningham, name based. Me and Donnie are we're still working out the kinks here to polish everything over to be more of a cohesive unit.
Are you guys gonna be serious? Are you be comedy? What are you trying to go for?
I think a mix of both. A little mix of both, a happy medium.
Did you ever watch Always Sunny?
Yes.
Did you ever see the episode where the gang joins the mob and they all start dressing like the Italian mobsters?
Yes.
And they all wear the Adidas tracksuits and the chains and just go. If you want to go comedy, watch that episode and emulate that.
All right, because he actually gave me a chain. I have a pinky ring. We have tracksuits. We have the whole nine right now.
Yeah. Watch that episode, emulate that. And then once you guys, if you want to do more of a serious role, then obviously start looking at more serious Italian stuff. But I would lean more into like, you listen, we can go out there and we can body you and be that. But I would lean more to the comedy too, because I think comedy is going to get you those early opportunities and bookings.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see it. I lost my question. So when you won your first title, once again, comedy is what's always going to people stick in people's brains, and this is why I think it's kind of this is why my favorite thing is gimmicks. Is you wrestled Travis Dorian, in a cruiserweight title match, and Travis Dorian is clearly not a cruiserweight.
No.
But it was very, very entertaining and fun. And listen, that card that night, I believe Kit wrestled Gangrel, but the thing that sticks out to me was your title win, because it was very funny to see Travis as a 205 guy or whatever they build him as to wrestle for a cruiserweight title. Like I said, that's what's going to stick in your brain, is that funny storyline that got you chuckling. How was it winning your first title and being told by Glory at that point in time that we have enough faith in you to put the cruiserweight title on you?
It was definitely bittersweet.
Because you were only months in at that time, right? You weren't even at your full year mark.
No, not at all. Not at all. And it was bittersweet because Squid, I was supposed to wrestle him, and he got hurt the night before.
Yeah.
I didn't care about the title win. Title's just a prop, and we were always taught that. But it's always nice to win a title. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But the next day, Glory came up to me and he's like, hey, I don't know who you're going to wrestle, but you're going to wrestle someone. And later in the day, I think maybe 15 minutes before doors open, he called me over and he's like, oh, you're going to wrestle Travis tonight for the cruiserweight title. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, oh, Travis is going to get the title and it's going to be funny. And he said that, we're going to put it on you. I was like, oh, okay. And we kind of just talked over everything. And I know I won the title, but in my mind, I didn't, because I didn't wrestle Squid, who had the title. So
you guys never really concluded that or ever explored that, right?
No, because the next show, Squid came back as a surprise entrant in a triple threat when I was defending against Aaron Roxas. So we never went one-on-one or had that feud. And then next thing you know, Backbreakers kind of closed the doors a little bit, understandably. But
yeah, Squid is low-key one of those guys too that he really, really entertains me. and he's fun to watch as a professional wrestler. I remember seeing him the first time. Obviously, everything that you do in this business is visual first. So someone sees you do something and you're like, what the fuck? Like you see Squid and you're like, what is this guy? And then he goes out there and works and you're like, oh, I'm a Squid fan. You know what I mean? Possibly coming on the podcast soon. Maybe you've already locked in a date, but no, that's something I kind of, now I kind of wish we would have seen more of that. Like I'd like to see you and Squid work an angle or get some stuff in. I think that'd be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but there's another example. You come in, you have your character, you have your gimmick, and then Travis Dorian, who is a badass, but also can work. He always gets somehow paired up in a comedy role, but he's such a utilized team player. And this is where I think like I love the 570, and I'm sure it probably happens in every wrestling business, but like our talent in this area and our veterans like the Travis Dorians and the Kits and the Diamond Cities of the world can walk into a locker room like, hey, we don't really have anything tonight. And they're just like, Dorian, you're big and you can throw people around. Go chuck this kid around and go out there and have some fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen him do it with you. I've seen him done it with Precious at Sanctuary, like broke that kid in on his first match. Like Dorian's a really good person to have in a locker room.
He is, and that for some reason that was the least nervous match I've had, is because we made it fun, and I knew he was going to take care of me because Travis is just that kind of guy. And we called the match. It was really fun, and after he just kind of like uplifted me. Like it was the one of the best matches I've had.
He is my favorite wrestler. And it's not because he's good in the ring or he transformed his body and he lost a ton of weight during the pandemic and got super swole and leaned out really well. It's because he brings me beer every time he wrestles. Yeah.
And he's like the most humblest guy in the locker room too. Like
I love him. He's such a nice guy.
He is. He really is.
That's how if you want to win me over on commentary, I'm looking at you, Ricky Price. Bring me beer. Actually, Ricky Price, don't bring me beer. And if you do, make sure it's already closed. I will not drink an open beer from you. I don't trust him.
I wouldn't either.
Nah, that's crazy. But yeah, so you get that opportunity. Obviously, the Sanctuary, the Backbreakers then closes down. You guys transition to the new school. But you're out there taking those bookings. Where are some other places that you've worked that stand out for you, or that you feel like in your early stages of wrestling, promotions that have given you opportunity, or maybe some matchups that you've had that you feel like really have made you turn the corner and find yourself as a wrestler?
So the promotions, definitely Triple WA. I mean, like you can have a great match there. If the crowd is great, they're easy to work. So it's a great starting point for young talent. I've worked Eclipse. They're a fantastic place to work. I've worked Sanctuary, which I also love going there. It's like driving an hour and you're pretty much home.
I love that place.
It's awesome. And like PCW
season 13 coming soon.
Yes, and I will be at that show 100%. I've worked Rope to Rope. I mean, that's a great starting point too for some young guys. There's been a lot of promotions that I'm probably forgetting right now, but I appreciate all the opportunities and the matchups that I've had. For the turning point for me and like what I thought made me better was Aaron Roxas. He was great to me. Working Shelby was a lot of fun. That was probably by far my favorite match so far, other than Andy Header. That was incredible. I think those are the pinnacle moments where I would realize like, hey, I can do this. And then where I realized how much fun I could have with it and who I can really stand in the ring with and work as a unit, which was like Andy Header was one of my favorite matches as well, because he's so easy to work. Yeah.
I with Header, I'm not saying Header's not easy to work, but Header is someone who I thought like it's crazy. It's a testament for how long he's been doing it and how good he is with younger talent, because I've seen him do that countless of times. We're at a promotion, they're like, well, Header's a veteran, we could put him in with the young guy, he'll keep the young guy safe, but he'll also learn. But Header pushes a really fast pace in a match. He never stops moving.
No,
which is if you're not cardio ready, like I feel like Header could easily blow you up
in 2 minutes easily.
Yeah,
easily.
And especially when Header lost all his weight during the pandemic, and he pushes even faster pace now. So when someone says, "Hey, I'm going to work Header this weekend," like, you better have your cardio ready, because
Yeah.
that dude's gonna push you to a fairly fast. There's not a lot of down rest spots with Header.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I like that style, because coming from, being a luchador to now transitioning to who I am now, Nathaniel Cunningham, I mean, I found it fun. I found it like kind of going back to where I had to be that faster paced, but also telling a story. And that's the most important part.
Are you going to bring more of the lucha style back, like, are more into this character now that you're working with Donnie as more like the base, the big guy? And then, because like lucha style wise, like what are some things, like, are you opposed to going to the top, jumping off, doing, moonsault, stuff like that? Like, where do you lie when it comes to like being a high flyer?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I can't do a moonsault because I can't do a backflip. But even at like this past weekend at Triple WA, me and Donnie, I stood on his shoulders to give a crossbody. So like I'm back to the high flying pace, and he's just there to be the big guy and powerhouse it.
Yeah. Now I really, when you guys teamed up and I was like, oh, the pretty boy and the Italian guy, like, I'm glad you're transitioning. I think I honestly think you're gonna have more fun with it, I think.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, totally think that's gonna be a thing for you. Where are you guys booked next as a tag team that we can see you?
I'm pretty sure this weekend at PCWA we might be working a tag, but we have Triple WA coming up. We have PWX in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, look at you guys. That's a drive.
Yeah, that's in July. It's a little far out, but we're trying to like secure a little more dates, like far enough in advance. I'm pretty sure I don't have. Hold on, I'll check. Give me 2 seconds.
Maybe one of these first Fridays of the Sanctuary, we can see you guys in a tag action, because I definitely want to see you guys work. I'm pretty excited for it.
I'm hoping so. That's what I'm hoping for as well. And we're going down to Eclipse as well.
Cool. I've seen a lot of stuff for Eclipse. I definitely got to get out there one of these weekends. I made a post the other day saying, and it wasn't like a post saying I don't want more bookings. Like, I'm open to it, but I'm at the point now where, like, the only place I'm really doing commentary at the moment is going to be IWA in Jersey and Sanctuary. Everywhere else, I'm kind of backstage. I'm helping with production. I'm doing things on the side, helping with social media, and I'm fine with that. I love commentary, and I'll do commentary if needed, but I think it might go to the point too where if I show up at a show, I just kind of want to. I want to be a content creator. I really want to push the brand. I really want to push what I'm doing, but taking less bookings lets me go and become a fan and go to the promotions and see wrestling again. You know what I mean? And experience it that way. And then maybe if they're like, hey, this match we're going to have a special guest commentator of the ABJ podcast, Anthony Blackwell joins us on commentary, and I go do 1, maybe 2 matches and then get out. I would do that in a heartbeat, where I have a place on the show where I can do commentary, but I can still like grab someone backstage and get a 15-20 minute interview, or I can grab somebody in between or intermission and do something like that. Like, I kind of want to lean more that direction, but I do miss being able to go see promotions that I'd never seen before. Because if I would never have the opportunity to go to Backbreakers, I don't meet most of that roster. If I never had the opportunity to go to Sanctuary, or every single time you go to a new promotion, it's just like a whole new batch of talent that you've never knew existed, and then throw in a couple people you probably do know, and it just makes you more well-rounded in this industry, especially me as a content creator and an interviewer, where I get to see new people and see new faces and be like, yo, how did I never see this person before? They're really fucking good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm really excited to hopefully hone that in more. And Eclipse is definitely a name that I've been hearing a lot. And that's why I definitely want to go see what's going on there.
The great talent. There is some great talent down there.
Yeah. And like, who's their champions up right now? Do you know, like, off the top of your head?
I do not.
Okay.
I think Joey P still might be one.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So when it comes to, we're 3 months into the new year, but who are some people that are on the list of Nathaniel Cunningham that you want to maybe now you're an Italian mobster that you want to whack? That's on your list there. Who are some people you want to work?
So me and Donnie definitely want to work Tom Mitchell, and I forget his partner's name, but they Nice and Smooth, I think they are called. But
yeah.
They are amazing. And I
Tom Mitchell is he's someone I've watched transition from a backstage interviewer to a wrestler. He is so incredibly hardworking that I've even seen him putting together matches, but still trying to stay in his role of backstage and make sure the backstage side of things goes well, because it's still something that is maybe not thought of as hard in the business, but it's something that he knows how important it can be to do the backstage interviews and promos. And then watch him transition from that role to a wrestler. He has a great look, great attitude. I'm a big fan of Tom Mitchell.
Yeah, and I met him when he started being an interviewer at PPW, and like to see him now, like he's amazing.
It's funny because a lot of those interviews, he would like do a split when he talked, because he's taller than most people, so he would make himself look smaller while he did interviews, because he's a nice sized kid.
He is, and that's actually a smart idea.
Yeah.
And the next tag team, we definitely want to work Edge of Hope. Like Sarah Rain and Matic, that would be an incredible moment for us, because we would learn a lot off those guys. Same thing with TJ Epics and Chael Connors. Like, are we ready for that?
They're so good. They're so good.
We don't know yet, but they would definitely be like, they would teach us a lot.
Listen, man, you guys, you and Donnie, I mean, Donnie working Skyros was no slouch. That was not a slouch match. And I hope he realizes how well he did in that match. And you guys can work with a lot of names that maybe you didn't think you could in the past. Like you working Header, him working Skyros. They're two veterans of this game who work a style that not a lot of people can say they've worked. You know what I mean? So definitely build that confidence up, thinking like, yeah, I can work this person, or I'd love to maybe dip my toes in and try somebody, on that level. Cause you definitely both can do it and you deserve it.
Well, I appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
Donnie's in the chat. Trace Parker.
Trace, who? Oh, that's his name. Yep, Tom Mitchell and Trace Parker. Okay.
Yeah. Diamond City is another one. Obviously, if you're doing the whole thing, I feel like if you're entering the tag space, you got to get a Diamond City match.
100%. That would be a really fun match. 100%.
Yeah. Anybody else out there? And are you happy that you're more diving into a tag team style role and maybe not so much singles, or how is it from you? Because you essentially were the singles guy for a while, and now you're more leaning into the tag team style. Where do you have to go mentally, or where do you feel like transitioning from one to the other is for you?
I mean, if I get booked as a singles, I'll still take it. It's great. But I'm having the most fun right now as a tag team with Donnie. Like, we've discussed it back and forth. I asked him, like, if you want to go back to singles, we can both separate and go our separate ways again.
Or just manage each other.
Or just manage each other. And he's like, no, like, I want to do this. Like, we have a lot of fun together. And there's a lot of ideas there, even for content. Like, we have a lot of ideas. So it's just going to be exciting to see how this year plays out with Donnie by my side. So we're trying to get as many tag bookings as possible.
Donnie wants South Philly's finest.
I knew he does really bad, but he also thinks we're going to mesh really, really well with them. And I mean, if the opportunity is there, we would love that opportunity.
Yeah. It would be a whole thing where they would say you're gimmick infringing them, and then be like, we're real Italians and you guys are fake. No, we're real Italians and you're fake. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. They're also real good guys, but I like I said, even if you do the singles role, like, and you said you always travel with each other, just stand ringside with each other. You know what I mean? Like, you can still work singles, but keep this thing going. And honestly, one of the things, and I hate to giving him props, but like when you're working with a guy backstage, like a Ricky, you know what I mean, or an MJ Stacks, and they're putting the work in that they're doing in the ring, but also in promos. Like, you have to see that and be like, it's working for them. They're getting more opportunities because of the work they're putting in promo wise. Like, I feel like in your group, it's gotta be one of those things, like, we have to step it up. Yeah,
no, I agree. And due to, personal lives with me and Donnie at the moment, we get together one day a week on a Sunday. And that's when we start talking about ideas. So there's a lot of ideas to come still, but we just can't execute them right at this moment until we figure out what's going on.
Yeah. That's why you do the whole fake. I'm on the phone with you bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Always works. Honestly, I want to, maybe I'm tipping my hat a little bit here, but I did that first promo to promote an episode with Ricky. And I was like, man, that was really fun. And it got a good reception. And I think starting next month, I think that's something I'm going to lean into more, where I'm going to do like, maybe not so much promos, but episode previews. Like, hey, this is my next guest, and here's here's some of the things they have accomplished and stuff like that. I need more to do for the podcast, right? People are already probably sick of me because I'm posting 3-4 times clips a day. But it's
entertaining.
But it's the only way to get in the algorithm and be seen. You know what I mean? Like one of the biggest things I had to learn, especially if you're going to be in this space of making promos and stuff, is if you put a post out, and I would actually do this with promos, and if people are listening to maybe do this as well. But if you're putting a promo out and you have 2,000 friends on Facebook and you put it out at like 8:00, that post might only be seen from your 2,000 friends by 15.
Yeah.
Because the way the algorithm is. So you have to keep like every so many hours making another post so you stay active in the algorithm so they push your content more. So it might be a deal where you might have to make 2 or 3 promos just to put them out so people will be like, well, they made this one and oh, there's another one. Like you have to kind of flood the market. But like the thing that made me so self-conscious for a long time there was like people are going to get annoyed, but it's going to be more annoying than it is good. But I'm actually finding out more that sometimes people are missing out of the 7 clips I post throughout the week. Maybe they only see 3, but at least they're seeing the 3. They didn't even see the full 7, if that makes any sense.
It does. And Ricky actually helped me so much with social media because, I am a social media guy, but not to the extent he is. Mm-hmm. So with his help, it really showed me a different way. Yet again, I have some personal things going on and some things I'm separating with. So I'm going to start getting back on the social media.
Guys making sense. Let people get annoyed. They're not the ones you want to reach anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, there's not many people doing it. So when you're a talent who are making promos, but actually putting a little more effort into your promos with video editing and adding the fun things in, it gets noticed and you're going to get more opportunities because you're doing it.
I agree.
And they're really fucking fun. If you let your inhibitions down and do a promo and get goofy with it, it's so much fun. And then once you make one, then more people at shows, when you show up at a show that's like, yo, you want to film something this weekend? It's like, yeah, let's film something this weekend. You know what I mean? Like it's a good time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I
hear somebody bumping in the background.
Yeah.
Who's bumping?
It's a beginner's class tonight.
Oh, nice.
It might be Big D, which he's going to be an amazing talent when he's done.
Is that like the really, really jacked MMA dude that I was hearing about?
Yeah, he is phenomenal. Like, he is going to be a star when he is at that point.
Sick. I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, he's Ricky actually brought him in. So, no better person to be brought in.
Maybe. There's probably.
Maybe a few, but I mean, in this area,
yeah, with bottom of the barrel, But how is it now transitioning from, trainee, student, and now you're getting a little more responsibilities at the school and at the for high ground? How is it managing all that? And then how you're saying like you're at the school right now, opening the doors for a beginner's class?
It's a ride. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a ride. When Glory, before he decided to step away and take a hiatus, I did want to learn more of the backstage stuff just to be all rounded, just to know exactly why we do things in this business on the promotional side and the wrestler side. But then I kind of just got flooded with a lot of things that I didn't know how to do. And I kind of taught myself, but I mean, it's very stressful. It's not that I don't like it, but it's starting to become a little overbearing. So
sure.
I think
a lot of it could be also, and I don't want to speak for you, but like your dream is to be a wrestler. Like it's cool to learn that stuff, but also you don't want to overbear yourself and then lose your opportunities to be a wrestler because you're taking on other responsibilities.
Exactly. So I think at this point, like I've done it. I've realized, what I'm doing right now. And I think it's time for me to shift change again and just kind of just focus on me a little more and just be more all arounded for me. Like I can go to the gym more if, I had more time. I could build myself up more. I can think of better ideas for promos or character work. Like there's so much more time that I need for myself.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what the whole commentary thing for me is like, sure, every Saturday I can go and take a booking at a different place and do commentary different places, but also can I really give all my attention to every single one of those promotions and give them every single bit of ABJ that I can give them? Or do I take less take more pride in the promotions I'm working with and still work on my brand. They believe in my brand, but then also be able to put the effort into my brand, but also into their promotion so I can be a staple. Like when I work for a promotion, and this is not trying to sound selfish or anything like that, but if you bring me in to be part of your promotion, I want people to, when they think of your promotion, especially if I'm commentary or if I'm there doing stuff, I want to be so involved and I want to be able to work so hard that I want to be associated when it says that's part of that promotion. Hey, Sanctuary, Anthony Blackwell on commentary and BP. Like, I want to work as hard as everybody else to get the name out there and be a representation of that brand. But it's hard to do when you feel you're played up so much.
Absolutely. And last year I was trying for booking so hard and I got a lot. But this year already I decided to be a little dumb. And I was like, I'm not going to reach out to as many places, the old places I used to work, I'm going to dwindle down. That's a mistake on my part. I want as many bookings as possible. And I'm just going to start hitting it hard again because I can only help myself.
Yeah. And I'm sure along that process, you'll find a locker room and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to make this locker room a little more of a priority because I enjoy what's happening here and I'm growing here, and then work there until you get to a point you're like, all right, I think I hit my ceiling here. Let's go find the next one. And it's no disrespect to that promotion, but that's the beautiful thing of doing stuff. Like, well, I'm here. I got my reps. I feel like somebody else can take this role now. I'm going to spread my wings and see if I can grow somewhere else, see new talent, see new faces, stretch my wings and and get that new muscle memory somewhere else.
Exactly. And I'm not going to speak for my whole group here, but ever since Backburg is closed, I think we kind of feel, like we don't have a home right now. So we're just trying to, the best place for us is finding a home. And it comes with a great locker room, great set of mentors, and just an overall great show. So
yeah, absolutely. If anyone has any questions in the chat, please get them in. We'll get your guys' stuff in there. We're getting closer to that hour mark. It rolls up fast, when you're having fun conversation. So besides professional wrestling, and everything else that you're doing on the side, plus, by the way, the backstage things, what's something I didn't realize until I was part of a ring announcing and hosting job: timing. Something I never thought of. Like, when you're sitting at commentary, you don't give a fuck about timing. You're just like, oh, match is here, talk about it, get it to the next one. And then you're like, man, we're here for a while. I couldn't imagine being in charge of making sure everyone's in their spots, get their time in, or what going over by 3 minutes can do for a show. I just learned that over the weekend. Like, holy Hannah, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of responsibility.
That's the most anxious part of preparing that. Because I'm sitting there and I'm like, if we go over by 4 minutes on 1 or 2 matches, I'm paying the doctor an extra $100.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm just going to, worry about myself for a time
That's
being.
A lot. That's not worth it.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And the other thing with that too is being a wrestler. I don't understand how you guys put together matches backstage. If you ever have the pleasure of hearing 2 wrestlers put a match together, it's insane. And you're not going to learn anything at all. I would say I'm a very smart wrestling fan, but I listen to 2 people put a match together and they might as well be speaking pig Latin.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people do say that too.
Yeah. I've listened and kind of sat and spied a little bit and listened to someone put a match together and then went out to commentary to see how much I can translate from what they said to what they were going to do. Didn't know a thing they were going to do. No idea. Because it's like, oh, we're gonna do the 1-2, then the bing and the bop, and then you hit me with a bit bop, and then then they say this terminology of a move or a sequence in wrestling that everybody knows the sequence to, and I still haven't learned that stuff yet. And it's just like there's still a whole nother layer to this magic that I still haven't learned. It's crazy. And then you put all that together, but then in your brain you're putting the match together, but you're also like, okay, well, that sequence is probably a minute, this is probably 2 minutes, and then our match time is I do a podcast and I look up and I'm like, oh, I'm 45 minutes into this conversation already. If I was a wrestler with my ADD, bro, I'd be terrible. I'd have 45-minute matches because I would just lose track of time.
And that's the hardest part, is to gauge it. And then once you figure out the psychology part and then how to gauge timing for a match, it becomes a little easier. Granted, I'm not a pro at it yet. I'm still green. I'm still learning. But from day one, from when I had my first match to now, I think I've gotten significantly better and learned a lot.
Yeah. This is one of those things where if people listen to the podcast because they want to hear interviews and stories, even if you're not a professional wrestling fan, you have no idea what goes into this industry, that you just think 2 guys go out in their underwear and smack each other around, or girls. But it's just like there's so much more to this production than it meets the eye, and it's so fascinating to see everything. It really is. Every single show I go to, I pick up with something new, or I learn something new I didn't know existed. Because I don't want to learn everything in the business. I still like having a little bit of magic to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see every magician's trick. But it is a very, very fascinating thing. Hunter Dillon with the first one, kicking it off like karaoke here. I have to ask a trademark question. If you can write a letter to your younger Nathaniel Cunningham, what would you say?
Don't be a yes man.
I love that.
Yes. Focus on yourself and sit back and only take as much as you're willing to put out. And, by me saying yes, yes, yes all the time, I'm now feeding so many responsibilities that I don't even have a day to wash my clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%. 100%.
Don't be a yes, man.
Yeah. Pick and choose. You know what I mean? It's tough because, and this is where I'll say, like, I can assimilate a little bit with the business is you want to take in as much as you possibly can. Like, oh, these opportunities, these are all opportunities, but some of them are not as good as opportunities you think they are. And then you say yes to them. And then I know, at least me, when you show up somewhere, you're like, oh, well, I feel obligated now because I want my word to be good, and I don't want to be flaky, and I don't want to bail on people. But it's just like, I'm not really valued here. I'm just another body. I'm another cog in the machine. At this one, I could be a little bit of a bigger cog, and I can do more. I can stretch myself more, or maybe do more, but have less response. You have to just find where you fit. You know what I mean? But in those early stages, you want to take on, and then I guess a year, 2, 3, 4 years in, you're like, man, maybe I should dial back just a hair,
Yeah. Don't overload yourself. So
yeah, absolutely. So also, we were talking about before, besides professional wrestling, what are some other things that are into, or your hobbies, or stuff that maybe people don't know about you, Nathaniel Cunningham, that you're into?
Definitely watching TV. TV's like my big thing. Like if I'm just laying home, I'm bored or not doing anything, I want to relax, I just throw on a TV show.
What are you currently watching?
Right now, it's MILF Manor.
MILF Manor.
Yes, Discovery Plus. It was the weirdest.
That's on Discovery, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the weirdest shows. I just wanted to see what it was about. And,
I hear MILF Manor, and I think that it has a weird drum beat to start every episode.
It's the weirdest part, like I thought like these single moms are just going to go on a retreat to find love. But then they released that, it's all their kids on this retreat with them, going to date other moms, and they're sharing a room with them. It's really weird.
Wait, the moms are dating each other?
The moms are dating the sons of the other moms, but the mom and son have to share a bedroom together. And if they want to sleep with the other MILF or vice versa, they have to go into the room with their mother as well. It's a very weird show.
What the fuck?
I said the same thing.
So the sons are all going to hook up with other moms, but they have to date other moms while their moms are also dating younger men while they're there too?
Yes. And they do make jokes with each other saying like, oh, I'm going to be your new stepdad. That wouldn't sit well with me if I was that son. I wouldn't even want to be involved in that. So I can only imagine how they feel. It's an interesting show.
Fucking sick individual pitched this show, and then it got greenlit. Here's what we're going to take all these young people, and they're going to obviously click together, and then we're going to take their moms, and they're going to try to bang their moms. It's like, what? But then they have to share a room. What is happening?
And the weirdest thing is like the youngest kid on the show is dating the oldest woman on the show.
Oh, my goodness.
It is definitely a ride.
Who pitched this? Who booked this shit?
It sounds like
Discovery.
Netflix would. Yeah, Discovery Plus.
I watched this one on Netflix where they take like the youngest, most non-monogamous people on the planet, and they're all like 6-pack abs Instagram models, and stick them on this island, and the whole time they have like $1 million in a pot, and every time they physically touch each other they lose money. And I
watched that. Yep.
Yeah, it's essentially getting them all, and then they're like, all right, today's activity is body painting, and they just horn them all up, and they're like, go to sleep. No one do anything. And it's just like, the team has lost $45,000.
And you always get the two that are repeat offenders with that too.
Oh yeah, they just can't stop touching each other. It's great. Yeah, I can see that, but the whole mom. Honestly, you might have talked me into this show. I gotta check it out.
You have to check it out.
I love trash reality TV, like especially when it's like social experiment stuff. I want to believe that it is like a social experiment, but I know it's all fucking scripted.
Yeah, and like the weird part is like there's the moms, you think they would like tone it back a little with their son sitting right next to them for the interview, but nope. Their moms are really let go of what they're willing to do in the bed. And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Oh my god, it'd be so uncomfortable. If I was there with my mom, I would just drown myself in the ocean.
I would just leave.
I'd tap out. See you later. What else are you watching that should also be airing on the hub?
I don't think anything else on the hub. I'm really into that show right now. The Society I just started too.
Okay.
I never saw it. I know it's only one season, but like I really wish they went two because like I'm at the back end of the season now, and it's like they really set a good story in place.
I need to find a new show to watch, but every time I turn on the show, I just rewatch the same 4 shows over and over and over again.
Yep.
Parks, Office, Always Sunny, and Trailer Park Boys are I Think You Should Leave are like the only 5 shows I watch. And then if I'm not watching them, I'm just consuming all professional wrestling. So I need to take breaks here and there. Like I'm at a point now where I'm like wrestling overload, where like my video game right now, because 2K is popular, is 2K. And then when I'm not watching 2K, I'm watching wrestling to get ready for the weekly show I do that talks about wrestling. So it's like a wrestling overload load right now. It's like I need something to escape from.
It's a nice break sometimes to just take your mind off wrestling. It is. Yeah.
It's a lot. Once you're in it, man, you're up to your neck in it as soon as you start.
Yep, you live it every day.
Is there anything else you do besides movies or TV? I'm sorry.
At the moment, no, because I was a yes man. So now I have to dwindle back a little bit and find myself again. Do
you collect anything? Are you a gamer? Any other like side hobbies that you did previously?
I used to play video games, but that's really, there's no time for it now. But yeah, I mean, I just got to hone back and find myself again and find out what I like to do as a person.
Here's one thing I would definitely give advice to anybody, or especially to you younger guys and girls, is I'm learning this now, especially with a lot of people in the business. And I think it's something that really sparked our attention as something that we actually did together. We need to make more days where we're not booked to go and hang out with each other. And I know that sounds crazy to be like, but we see each other almost every other weekend because we're working here and here together. But it's way different going to go see a live local band with people that are your friends and not be involved in the wrestling side of things. I honestly, I want to do more of that. I want to incorporate that more. Like I said, I want to do dive bar reviews and movie reviews where I just get the GoPro, go in the car, and we go see a movie. And it doesn't even have to be filming content wise, but like you've got to take those things. We're like, hey, maybe this weekend we're not booked here, and here. Let's not try to find one. Let's go do something as a group. Let's because there's a lot of times right now where the last 5 years of doing professional wrestling and podcasting and stuff where I don't get talked. Like, I'm not saying I lost friends because I still am I feel like I have a very large and vast friend group, and friend groups who don't even know each other friend group. Like I'm not saying I'm very popular, but I'm just saying like I have a lot of people that I consider I'm very close to. But the problem is I don't get a lot of phone calls of saying, hey, we're hanging out this weekend, because a lot of their mind states of doing this for so long is he's busy. We're not even going to bother him. He's busy. He has something going on. And then you almost get forgot about by your friend group. Because you've invested so much time. So it is nice that when you do have a weekend, you can go and hang out with people and do things. And don't, like you said, don't overload yourself. Still find ways to develop your relationships and spend time with, if you have families and stuff like that. Like it's important. It's really important.
I agree. And I couldn't agree more. And just saying, if my phone ends up dying or I end up cutting out, my phone's on 3.
Yeah. Well, we're literally wrapping up right now. Where can people find you on social media?
Definitely my Facebook, Nathaniel Cunningham. I have a YouTube, Nathaniel Cunningham. I have a TikTok @ Nathaniel Cunningham. And I'm trying out the Twitter thing. I just don't know the username right now.
Oh, it's not toxic at all. You'll have a blast.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. So I think it's _ Nathaniel Cunningham for that too.
Cool. All right, brother. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a blast. We literally were hitting it right on the hour mark. This platform's always open, brother. I'm really proud of you. Like I said, I think you're really finding yourself, and focus on you, brother. Don't like I said, find yourself. Do you? You have a great support system. I love you guys all to death, and I can't wait to see how you guys keep growing, and I can't wait to see this new character change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, and thank you especially for having me.
Anytime, brother. You know the store's always open. All right, well, we'll let you guys go here. Like I said, make sure you tune back in tomorrow. Time still determined. I think it's around 5 or 6. Mary Elizabeth will be on the podcast, and then Thursday around the same time frame, 5 or 6 will be Harleen Lopez. Can't wait to talk to her. I don't know much about her, so it's going to be a brand new style conversation for me. And then we have the next month kicking off with tons and tons. We're actually going to hit the 50 mark next month, which is insane because we started here in October. But make sure if you are here, check out the links below. Follow me on all social media, and leave some comments when you see people's stuff. That it helps out a lot and helps that growth go. But we'll see you guys next time for the ABJ podcast. I'm out of here. And here's some music by the Converse Kid, Billy Trey.